Imagine this. You walk into a room and someone looks at you, then quickly looks away. Immediately, your mind starts talking. Did I do something wrong? Why did they react like that? Did they judge me? Now pause. What actually happened? Someone looked at you and looked away. That's all. Everything else came from your mind. This is the first problem most people never realize. You think you're experiencing reality, but you're actually experiencing your interpretation of it. Neuroscience explains that the brain doesn't passively receive reality, it actively constructs it. He calls it a controlled hallucination. That doesn't mean what you see is fake. It means your brain is constantly filling gaps, predicting meaning, adding emotion before you're even aware of it. Think of your brain like this. It doesn't wait to see what's happening. It guesses first, and then adjusts. Let's say two people walk into the same meeting. One thinks, this is an opportunity. The other thinks, I'm going to embarrass myself. Same room, same people, same situation, completely different realities. So let me ask you, when you feel anxious, is it the situation, or is it your interpretation of it? Your brain is always asking one question: what does this mean? And the answer it gives depends on your past experiences, your beliefs, your conditioning. The problem is this: you trust your perception without realizing it's filtered. So the first step is simple: awareness. Start noticing not just what is happening, but what you're adding to it. Next time something triggers you, pause and ask, what actually happened? Then what did I add to it? Because once you see this, something shifts. You realize you're not just reacting to reality, you're reacting to a version of it created by your mind. And if that's true, then the next question becomes, what is shaping that version? So if your mind is interpreting reality, then the real question is, what is shaping that interpretation? The answer is simple, but most people overlook it. Your beliefs. A belief is not just something you think. It's something your brain assumes is true, automatically, without questioning it. For example, if you believe, people don't respect me, you won't walk into a room neutrally. You'll walk in already expecting it. And here's what happens next. Your brain starts scanning for proof. Someone doesn't greet you? That's confirmation. Someone looks busy? Also confirmation. Even neutral situations start to look negative. Imagine someone who believes, I'm not confident. They walk into a conversation already slightly withdrawn. They hesitate, they overthink, they speak less. And the other person? They respond to that energy. The conversation feels awkward. Now the belief gets reinforced. See, I'm not confident. But here's the truth. It wasn't reality proving the belief. It was the belief shaping the experience. This is the real issue. Your beliefs are not just describing your reality. They are influencing how it unfolds. Your brain works like a prediction machine. It doesn't just react, it anticipates. Donald Hoffman explains that we don't see the world as it is. We see what our mind is prepared to notice. So your beliefs act like a filter. They decide what stands out, what gets ignored, what feels important. So ask yourself honestly, what do you believe about yourself, other people, your future? And here's the deeper question. Did you choose those beliefs, or did you inherit them? Think about a child growing up, constantly hearing, you're not good enough. Over time, that doesn't stay as words, it becomes identity. So later in life, even when opportunities appear, they hesitate. Not because they can't do it, but because their internal belief says, this isn't for you. So what do? You don't try to force reality to change first. You examine the belief. Take one recurring thought you have, something you say often, like, I always mess things up. I'm not ready yet. This never works for me. And ask, is this objectively true? Or is this something I've repeated so many times that it feels true? Because the moment you question a belief, you create distance from it. And once you create distance, you gain choice. So now we know this. You don't experience reality directly, and your beliefs shape how you interpret it. But this leads to a bigger question. If your beliefs are shaping your experience, then how exactly do they influence your actions? And ultimately, your results? And this is where we need to understand what people call manifestation. At this point, you might be thinking, so, is this what people mean by manifestation? And the answer is yes, but not in the way it's usually explained. Most people think manifestation means think about something and it will appear. So they try to stay positive, repeat affirmations, visualize outcomes, and then get frustrated when nothing changes. Because deep down, their reality still feels the same. Here's what's actually happening. Your thoughts create patterns in your brain. When you repeat those thoughts, those patterns become stronger. Joe Dispenza explains that repeated thoughts form neural pathways, and those pathways shape how you think automatically. Over time, those automatic thoughts influence how you feel, how you respond, what you choose. Imagine someone who constantly thinks, so this won't work. They get an opportunity, but before they even try, their mind says, don't bother. So they hesitate, they delay, they overthink, they don't take action. The result? Nothing changes, and the belief gets stronger. See? It never works. But look closely. The outcome wasn't random. It followed a pattern. Thought to feeling to action to result. If the thought stays the same, the result will keep repeating. That's the real mechanism behind manifestation. So ask yourself, what thoughts do you repeat daily? And what kind of actions do those thoughts lead you to take? You don't get what you want. You get what your system is aligned with. If you say, I want to succeed, but internally believe, I'm not capable, your actions will follow the second one, not because you're lazy, not because you're unlucky, but because your system is inconsistent. Think about someone training for a competition. One person believes this is possible. The other believes I'll probably fail. Who trains harder? Who stays consistent? Who pushes through discomfort? Same goal, different internal alignment, completely different outcomes. So if manifestation isn't about wishful thinking, what do you actually do? You focus on alignment. Step 1, notice your dominant thoughts. Step 2, identify which ones are limiting you. Step 3, start shifting them gradually, not by forcing positivity, but by introducing better, more useful thoughts. For example, instead of, I can't do this, you move to, I'm learning how to do this. Small shift, but powerful. This is not about lying to yourself. It's about training your mind to work with you instead of against you. So now we understand this. Your thoughts shape your patterns. Your patterns shape your actions. And your actions shape your results. But there's something deeper. Something most people don't notice. Even when they know this, they still don't change. So the question becomes, why? Why does the mind resist change, even when you understand what to do? And that's what we're going to explore next. So now you understand something important. Your thoughts influence your actions, and your actions shape your results. But here's the confusing part. Even when people know this, they still don't change. They still go back to old habits, old thinking patterns, old behaviors. So the question becomes, why? It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack discipline. It's because your mind is designed to keep things familiar. Your brain doesn't care about what's better. It cares about what's known, even if what's known is limiting. Think about someone who wants to change their life. They decide, I'm going to take this seriously now. For a few days, they're motivated. They think differently. They act differently. But then something happens. They feel uncomfortable. Doubt starts to show up. Old thoughts return. This isn't working. This isn't me. Maybe I should just go back. And slowly, they return to what's familiar, not because it's better, but because it's comfortable. Your brain builds your identity from repetition. The more you think a certain way, the more you act a certain way, the more your brain says, this is who I am. So when you try to change, you're not just changing actions, you're challenging your identity. So ask yourself honestly, what version of you have you become comfortable being? And if you tried to step outside of that, what feels uncomfortable? That discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is new. Imagine learning to use your non-dominant hand. At first, everything feels awkward, slow, unnatural, frustrating, not because you can't do it, but because your brain isn't used to it. But if you keep practicing, it starts to feel normal. That's exactly how mental change works. So instead of expecting change to feel easy, expect it to feel unfamiliar. And instead of stopping when it feels uncomfortable, understand what that discomfort means. It means you're stepping outside of your old patterns. The goal is not to feel confident immediately. The goal is to stay consistent, even when it feels unfamiliar. Because over time, what is unfamiliar becomes familiar. And what becomes familiar becomes your new normal. You don't become a new person overnight. You become a new person through repeated small shifts, thought by thought, action by action, day by day. So now we understand something deeper. It's not enough to know what to do. You also have to move through the discomfort of becoming someone different. But this leads to an even more important question. If your mind is shaping your experience and your patterns are shaping your life, then what does that say about the reality you are living in? Is it fixed? Or is it more flexible than you think? And this is where everything begins to come together. So let's bring everything together. You've seen that. You don't experience reality directly. Your mind interprets it. Your beliefs shape that interpretation, and your patterns shape your actions. Now here's the bigger idea. Think of your mind as a virtual reality system. In virtual reality, you put on a headset and step into a world that feels real. You react to it, you move through it, you respond emotionally to it, even though it's being generated. Your everyday experience works in a similar way. Not because the world isn't real, but because your experience of it is being constructed by your mind. Think of it like this. Your beliefs are the code. Your attention is the camera. Your emotions are the feedback. And your experience is the output. Imagine two people walking into the same opportunity. One person sees, this could change everything. The other sees, this is probably going to fail. Same situation, different internal code. So they act differently. One takes action, the other hesitates. And over time, their lives begin to look completely different. Not because reality treated them differently, but because they interacted with it differently. So ask yourself, what kind of world are you experiencing right now? One of possibility or one of limitation? And more importantly, what is creating that experience? Most people think they're stuck in reality, but in many cases, they're stuck in a pattern, a way of thinking, a way of interpreting, a way of responding. repeated so many times that it feels like reality itself. Donald Hoffman explains that what we see is not the full truth. It's a simplified interface, like icons on a screen. You don't see what's underneath, you see what your mind presents. So instead of asking, why is my reality like this? A better question is, what is shaping the way I experience it? Think about someone who decides, I'm going to start seeing opportunities differently. At first, nothing outside changes. But slowly, they begin to notice things they ignored before. They speak up more, they try more, they take more chances, and over time, their results begin to change. Not instantly, but consistently. Because they didn't just change what they wanted, they changed how they saw and responded to reality. Your life is not just happening to you. You are participating in it through your perception, your beliefs, and your actions. So now we understand something powerful. Your experience of reality is not fixed. It is shaped, influenced, and adjusted by your internal system. And if that's true, then the final question becomes, how do you actually start changing it in a real practical way? Not just understanding it, but applying it. So now we've come full circle. You've seen that. You don't experience reality directly. Your mind interprets it. Your beliefs shape that interpretation. And your patterns shape your actions. So the real question is no longer, can I change my reality? The real question is, how do I actually start? Because this is where most people get stuck. They understand the idea, but they don't know what to do with it. Or they try to change everything at once and end up going back to old patterns. So instead of overcomplicating this, think of it as a process, not something you do once, but something you practice. The first step is awareness. Start noticing your thoughts without immediately reacting to them. Not every thought is true. Not every thought is useful. But most of the time, we don't question them. Throughout your day, pause and ask, what am I thinking right now? And more importantly, is this helping me or holding me back? The second step is questioning. Take a belief you've repeated for years. Something like, I'm not ready. This isn't for me. I always mess things up. And ask yourself honestly, where did this come from? Was it your experience or something you absorbed from someone else? The moment you question a belief, you stop treating it like a fact. And once it's no longer a fact, it becomes something you can change. The third step is replacement, not with unrealistic positivity, but with something more useful. For example, instead of, I can't do this, shift to, I'm learning how to do this. Instead of, this won't work, shift to, I'm going to see what happens if I try. Small changes, but they lead to different actions. This is where most people stop. Because change doesn't happen once. It happens through repetition. Your brain learns by what you repeat, not what you understand once. So the goal is simple. Repeat better patterns, thought by thought, day by day, until they become natural. Imagine someone who decides, I'm going to start paying attention to how I think. At first, nothing feels different. They still have the same thoughts, the same doubts. But now, they notice them, and slowly, they start choosing differently. One decision at a time, one reaction at a time. And over time, their behavior changes, and over time, their results change. Not because something magical happened, but because they stopped running the same patterns. You don't need to control everything. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to become aware of what you're repeating, because what you repeat becomes your reality. So I'll leave you with this. If your mind is shaping your experience, then what are you choosing to repeat every single day? Because that is what your life will become.